Bottled Imp. My name is Ken Boyter. This is a fantasy review show. If you want to know more about what we'll be doing over the next couple of weeks and hopefully years, then please check out episode 1. That will explain a little bit more about what we're doing and who I am. But first of all, let's crack on with the review. Now, the first review is going to be Talisman. This is a fantasy board game and it's very nostalgic for me. Now you might wonder why it's very, very dusty. Well, let's find out, shall we? So, Talisman. Let's have a look. Now the reason why this box, and this is the original box, is very dusty is because I don't keep the game in this box anymore. No. There's so many expansions, I like to keep it in this lovely treasure chest. Let's have a look, shall we? Now, of course... Let's get this thing out. We've got the board. Here we go. And this is a bit of a beast of a board, this one. As you can see. Oh, there we go. It's quite big. Oh, there we go. Let's put that there. We've got the other components here. We've got loads of cards. Seriously, there is a lot of cards. There's even more cards. We've got character cards. We've got little figures. Oh, there's so much in Talisman. One of the reasons why I like Talisman is it's very nostalgic for me. We used to play this when we were about 13, 14, 15, 16. We kept going with it. And it was one of those games that, well, we drifted out of playing board games. And then years later, somebody mentioned Talisman. So what did we do? Well, I bought the 4th edition. We were playing with the 1st and 2nd edition. So we're playing with the 4th edition now. Let's have a further look at Talisman. Okay, so we've pretty much set up the board. I haven't got all the components out because there are quite a lot. I'm going to be running through, obviously, every little bit. Not necessarily in great detail, but just to give you an overview, just to give you a flavour of what Talisman is all about. First thing to say is it says 2 to 6 players. It says ages 9 and above on the box, and it does say that it's 90 minutes to play. Well, when we play, it normally takes a little bit longer. I don't know if that's just because we chat in between or whatever, but 90 minutes, I guess you can do it in 90 minutes. And I guess the more times you play it, the better you get at it, and the strategy, you'll develop your own strategy, and you should be able to win within 90 minutes. 6 players, obviously, it's going to take longer. 2 players is obviously quicker. And there are various modifications that you can to make the game longer or shorter. Don't get me started on the expansions. There are loads of expansions now, which is a good thing, let me say that. But I thought we'd just concentrate on the base game to begin with. So, first of all, what's the game? What's the object of the game? The object of the game is to take one of your characters and get that character to the centre square. You are going to be after the crown of command. You want total domination. You want to control the realm of Talisman. And you do that by randomly, or sometimes you could pick which character, depends on how you want to do it, but we play it randomly. So you might get a character called the Troll, for example. I'll just hold that up there. So that's an example of a character. Now, each character has a special ability, or 2 or 3, depending on what character you are. So, for example, the Sorceress has 3 or 4 special abilities. The Troll has 2. A special ability might be you begin the game with 1 spell. It says you may take any 1 follower, except the Maiden, Unicorn, or Princess from a character that you land on. So, you're going to take your character from the outer region to the middle region and to the inner region. There's 3 different regions. And when you get to the Crown of Command, what do? Well, you kill off all the other characters, obviously. How do you get to the Crown of Command? Well, you do need a talisman. You're probably wondering why it's called Talisman. This is why. These are Fable's talisman. You need one to cross the Valley of Fire. And there's various ways you can gain a talisman throughout the game. I'm not going to explain exactly every way that you can gain a talisman, but there are things like the Warlock quest, or sometimes it turns up in the adventure deck. Also with your characters, you power up, you can level up. So every character will have strength, craft, gold, life, fate. You'll also be able to carry objects, and you will have followers. Now, I'm just going to go through these very briefly. Strength, well, that is what it is, and you will be getting strength tokens. Each one of those, the little ones, represent 1 strength. So obviously, the sorceress starts off with 2 strength, and you just put it on top of each other, and there you go, that represents 2. And I like this mechanism because if you get a big cone, that's 5 strength. So obviously, that would then be 7 strength. And of course, you get blue, that's for craft. You get green, and that is for lives. So for example, the sorceress starts with 4 lives. A lot of the base characters do start with 4 lives, although the troll is one of the exceptions. He starts with 6. You also get fate. Now these are fate tokens. Here we go. You get fate tokens, and I'll explain what fate tokens do in a minute. You also get gold, and most characters, look at the gold. I love the noise that makes as well. It's like it's real gold. So most characters start with 1 gold. Now obviously gold, that's pretty obvious. You can buy stuff for gold. Fate is slightly different. Fate means you can re-roll a die, and obviously if you needed to roll a 6 for something and you didn't, you could pay a fate and you can re-roll. Obviously you might get 6 again, but that's the whole point. It's fate. You might need 1 and you roll a 1, brilliant, fate's on your side. Strength and craft. Now, in order to get to the middle region, you will need to various ways. You can go up via the sentinel, but you'll need to fight them. So obviously you need to power up your strength, and also you need to power up your craft. To get to the Crown of Command, you will need to have roughly 10 to 12, anything above 12 you pretty much can get up there fairly easily. Now, what I like about this game is obviously you've got a load of different characters. You will have to journey around the board. Now I'll just briefly show you how you do that. You will have a die. Now these are quite cool, these are branded Talisman ones, so you do get 6 die in the box. They've got the little talisman symbol. That's really cool. So you'll each have a starting place. So I don't know if this is true, but the priest might start in the fields, for example, and all you do is you simply roll the dice and you move, well, away, there you go, 6. So you would just count 6 across. Now what I like about this is it's kind of like an open world game, because you don't have to go clockwise, you don't have to go anti-clockwise, you can choose. You can't split the dice, you can't go 3 one way and then 2 another. You have to go in the direction that you're going. And then all you do is you will simply do what it says on the square. So for example, here it says draw 1 card. You are referring to the deck here, which is the adventure card. And everything will be different. Obviously you might be fighting a dragon, you might be fighting an imp, you might be fighting a boar, you might be fighting any sorts of creatures that you can think of. Also, it might be an event like this, so something that happens, it might affect you only, it might affect everybody in that region, it might affect everybody in every region. So there'll be different event cards that will come along. There's strangers. Now strangers can be good, they can be evil, they will either help you or not help you. Every character will have an alignment. You'll be good, evil or neutral. Now obviously some strangers will help good characters, some, etc, etc. So that's a great mechanism. So the good thing about the adventure deck is you never know really what's coming up. That keeps the game different every single time. Every character has the ability to cast spells, and again there's different spells. So it might be to bolster your strength, it might be to bolster your mind power, as in craft. It might be to teleport somewhere, it might be that you gain an extra craft. There's loads of these, and again, no 2 games will be alike. Also, you can purchase stuff with your gold. Now you can purchase a sword, and that adds 1 to your strength in battle. You've got an axe. That also helps you build a raft in the woods, so you can get up to the next level, into the inner region, to the middle region, sorry. Then you've got things for defense. So for example, a shield, a helmet, you've got armor, and they do various things, but basically they defend yourself. You can only carry 4 objects to begin with. Now you might have a special ability that allows you to carry more, but on the whole you can only carry 4. So you can buy a mule. Now that carries an extra 4 objects. So again, you can increase how many objects you carry. You could buy a water bottle. That means you don't lose a life in the desert, for example. So there are various things that you can buy along the way. Okay, next up is we're going to be talking about where is it? Where have I lost it? Oh yeah, I've talked about the talisman. You will need a talisman. Now obviously, when characters land on each other, that's when you can fight. Now you can choose to fight or not. You can choose to sort of land on a character and say, well, I think you're a bit tough, I'm not going to fight you. And you will then draw an adventure card. But if you do decide to fight, it's simple. You both look at your strength, or if you've got an ability, you can fight with craft, and you will then simply both roll a die. And you add your starting, your base craft or base strength, and you will then add the die roll. Whoever's got the most obviously wins. But then, of course, somebody might play a spell and modify it. If you win against another player, you can choose to take a life, take an object, take a follower, or take a gold. And that choice is yours. If you're fighting against one of the monsters, you can then, so say for example you've got a monster and it is strength 5. Well, for example here you've got strength 6 and craft 6. Now you can choose which one. Say you fought it and it was 6 and you won, you would have 6 points towards your total. You can take it as a trophy. Once you get 7, you can then cash that in for a strength or a craft, depending if it's strength or craft. And then again, that's another way of powering up. So I think that's pretty much the basics of Talisman. As you can see, I could go on forever about this, but I'm not going to. There are other expansions, and again, we'll look at those later on. What do I like about this game? There's so much to like about this game. I love the artwork. I love the figures. I've painted these, so if you're into painting, that's great. If you're not, well, they come grey, that's fine. They're good quality. If you've got a friend, get them to paint them. All the components, it's Flight Fantasy who make it. Brilliant, good quality components. The artwork on every single card is amazing. The artwork on the board is lovely. I like the fact that there's randomness involved. You might have a strategy, but I like the fact that you're not totally in control of what you do. I like the fact that you can fight other characters. I like the fact that you never know what you're gonna get when you pick an adventure card. I like the fact that there's different spells. And I like the fact that you're all trying to do the same objective, but obviously you're fighting against each other. There are other nuances and other things I could go into, but for me, as I say, we played this as a kid loads and we really, really, really enjoyed it. I thoroughly recommend this. If you like fantasy, obviously you're watching this, you probably do, then you're going to love it. If you like, this really set the benchmark initially, all those years ago. It's probably about 20, 30 years ago that it came out. And it was totally different. Nothing really was on the market. So really, this was a bit of a game changer for board games, I think, in general. Obviously, there are other fantasy board games now. Now, they're going to be taking some of elements that they didn't like about it. But I like this. So if you like, you've got die roll, you've got fighting, you've got little skill tests that you can do, you meet strangers. This definitely is the game for you. So there we go, that was my review of Talisman. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe, leave comments, let me know what you thought, and maybe suggest any games that you would like me to review, or obviously any books, any films. Thanks once again for watching. Catch you next time.